Hey there, this is Thomas Manning, contributor to Echo, and recently I got a chance to sit down with actor Alex Wolff to talk about his new film, The Line. This is directed by Ethan Berger. It's basically an indictment of frat culture on college campuses and some of the dangers that lie within those environments. Alex is such a thoughtful, brilliant artist in whatever he does, whether it's acting, filmmaking, or in creating music, which he does with his brother Nat. And I know they were both interviewed by Echo previously, which you can check out. And I've also interviewed Alex as well a few years ago for the film Pig. So it was great to catch back up with him. And I can't thank Alex enough for his time. And thank you all so much for watching and listening. And I hope you enjoyed the conversation. So yeah, Alex, as you said, we spoke a few years ago, and we're talking about Pig, and I think you told me that my accent is exactly what you were going for a certain movie. I was really curious what that movie was going to be, and I was on the lookout for this, and now here we are, and I just got to say, hey, you did a really good job as a Carolina
Thank you,
boy.
man.
Oh
So
man.
funny, man. The second you started, I was like, I know this guy. I know this guy anywhere. Wow, man. I mean, exactly what I was going for. I guess you're, where are you from?
I'm from North Carolina. I'm
North
yeah,
Carolina. Okay, so
yeah.
mine is a little more South Carolina, a little more Florida and South Carolina, but yeah, North Carolina, pretty close to
Yeah.
what I was going for.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know a few members of the cast are from South Carolina, Bo
Yeah.
Mitchell and Mason
Yeah.
Roberts. And I understand that Mason in particular was a major resource for you and Ethan Berger in,
Yeah.
basically research. He was almost like a primary source of research.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, so can you speak a bit to that significance of having them there to kind of guide you through that regional culture and environment?
Well, Mason and Nick Basile, who's a real integral part of the movie and plays kind of a big part. And we found them when I went to go live with a fraternity in South Carolina, and I was really taken with a few of the kids and found them to be uh, charming and interesting and understood the complexity and the darkness underneath what was happening with the fraternity. And I think, there's a lot of people who were nervous about what we were doing and a lot of people who were hostile. But also a lot of people who got what we were going for and understood that it's not like we're trying to um, uh, make some big moral statement or uh, blame anyone per se, but we are trying to expose a problem. And we needed people from the inside in order to make it authentic. And they were brave enough to stand up and join the movie.
Yeah. And a very specific detail about this film that stuck with me is how it uses tears with the characters. There are a few pivotal moments with tears streaming down a character's face, and it's just kind of this incredible release of repressed emotions. I think you have a moment like that. Bo has a moment, Austin Abrams as well. So I'm interested to hear your thoughts on the power of well-used tears as an actor and what decisions have to be made from a filmmaking standpoint to capture that desired effect?
Good question. I mean, I think if you're doing your job as an actor, this is my opinion. If you're doing your job as an actor, you really shouldn't be thinking about the tears themselves. Um, I think if you're thinking about the tears themselves, then the audience can somehow taste that those tears, taste like silicone, that they're not from a deep place. So I think I'm a very emotional guy playing someone who's got a lot of repressed emotions. Um, and so, probably a director's job is just mostly cutting away from my face and cutting away from the tears. So that's probably the job with me. But I think it's really that the circumstances warrant deep emotional catharsis at the end. Um, and I don't think it's, specifically about tears or about crying. I think it is about I think it magnifies that they're kids, and that doesn't take away responsibility, but it just magnifies how young they are and how they are products of an institution that gives them too much freedom and too much power at too young of an age.
Yeah. And The Line is Ethan Berger's feature film directorial debut, and I think he already has such a confident voice as a filmmaker.
I
And
agree.
you can add him to the long list of other brilliant directors you worked with, from Ari Aster, M. Night Shyamalan, Nolan, and Michael Sarnoski. And I know you yourself, you've also stepped behind the camera before for The Cat in the Moon, and then you've got another film coming up that you're directing,
Yeah,
If
yeah.
She Burns. So is there anything that stands out to you about Ethan as a director that you look at and say, moving forward, I want to make sure I'm doing my job as a director just as well as what Ethan did there?
Yeah, well, I think Ethan is really open to change, and I think that's the rarest quality of a director. I would say that is the number one most rare, but maybe the most brave. I've never worked with a director who has been very open to change that hasn't yielded some positive response. I think that I've worked with many directors who cling to their vision and think that um, you know, uh, protects them from failure, but I think often leaves them stranded. And I think being open to the environment and things moving and coming up with things on the day has only helped, at least in my experience. And I think Ethan is one of the great masters of that, of kind of rolling with the punches.
Yeah, yeah. And there are two really powerful scenes in this film that I feel like are kind of in dialogue with each other. And one of them, you're having a dinner conversation with John Malkovich. He's playing your best friend's dad, this big corporate exec. And you can tell that Tom is a little bit out of his element here. It kind of feels like he's being interrogated a little bit. But this comes full circle in another scene with Scoot McNairy. And without spoiling the context there, that tension is ramped up even more than in the earlier
Yeah.
scene with John. Um, can you walk me through some of your memories of filming those scenes and compare how they both challenged you as a performer?
So wait, so can I ask you, so the scene with John Malkovich for you, you felt like that was John, his Beach, you felt like that was Beach sort of sussing out Tom? Is that how you interpreted that scene?
Exactly. Yeah, that is how I took it.
Very interesting. Okay, so I had kind of a different interpretation, probably because of where I was at, and that's some people's thing. I love that interpretation. I wouldn't take it away. My interpretation was that was more him trying to invite Tom into his club, a club that Mitch has never been a part of. So that's how I took it, kind of from Tom's perspective. But I see totally from another perspective, it's he's trying to, who is this kid? And so I like that. I think the Scoot McNairy is Scoot really looks down on these kinds of people, and thinks that the tight-lipped, nature, the protecting each other, the secrecy, the faux purity of a fraternity that we take care of our brothers is bullshit, and it's really they're criminals. They're over 18 and they're criminals. And I think that what I love about the movie and the fine line of it is, no pun intended, or actually kind of pun intended, because I think that's what the movie's about, is about are they just kind of kids who are out of their depths, or are they does everybody have agency? And I think it's just right. It really rides the line. It really rides this. What I like about the scene with John is it looks like the most fun, sexy thing in the world, the way he describes a fraternity. He's like, oh, he shit his pants, and how fun is that to Tom? But at you as an audience member, I think you just feel sad that that's what Tom thinks is really cool and interesting. So I just like that scene is sort of like, the seed, and it grows into this kind of rotten tree. I think the movie has a lot of glamour on the outside, and I feel that it kind of rots on the inside. And Ethan did an amazing job of curating that. And those two scenes are the opposite ends of someone being so enamored with what could it be and how I'm going to get so much money and I'm going to be so successful to what have I done? What did I go through?
Well, Alex, I'm so glad I got to see the line finally, and glad that we got to share another conversation. And hopefully, we can do it again many more times. It's been a pleasure. I appreciate it.
You're one of my favorite interviewers, man. You're one of my favorite guys. Every time you interview me, I get asked such great questions, and I always want to give you a good answer. And I always leave feeling nervous, like, God, I hope he got a good answer because he asked me goddamn good questions.
Those were great, great answers, I have to say. So, well, congrats, Alex. I appreciate it, and we'll catch up soon, I'm sure.
All right, have a great day.